My dear friends, this is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And today, if you don't mind, I would very much like to continue on with the 31 days of cop films and gangster films from the year 1970 to the present day. And as I have mentioned before, and as I've admitted before, I acknowledge that this might be a wide expanse of years. However, at the same time, it is my hope that this can also afford us, you and I, my dear friends, with the opportunity to speak about as many films as possible within the contexts of these genres respectively. And in that spirit, I'd like to focus today, if I may, on the gangster film genre, or for purposes of this video, I should say, focus in on the gangster film genre. And it is a really, I think, a touching and moving family drama film, and it's a film about relationships, and it's about growing up, and it's about adolescence in the context of the 1960s, and also in the context of family, in particular the bonds between father and son, and also what that means in terms of familial bonds and also metaphorical bonds, because there are father figures that are at play here, and one could say rival father figures that are maybe vying for, or that are struggling for, or that are fighting for the attention and maybe even salvation and influence with regard to the young boy that is at the center of this captivating drama. And as I say, I would like to discuss this in the context of a gangster film genre discussion. I'm speaking of the work which is described as being from 1993, based on its initial release, and it is based upon a writing play work by Chaz Palminteri, and this is directed by Robert De Niro. The director is Robert De Niro, and in fact, Robert De Niro appears in the film as well. Chaz Palminteri also appears in the film as well, and we have their characters, Chaz Palminteri playing a character called Sonny, and Robert De Niro playing a character called Lorenzo. And they are also having a very profound and emotional and intimate and very close relationship with a young boy who is at the center of this very compelling work. And I'm speaking of this work, which is A Bronx Tale. This is a story about a young boy, Calogero, and he is a young boy at the start of the film, and he is a few years older as an older teenage boy in the second half of the film, and during that second half, as he's an older teenage boy played by Lilo Brancato, and he is, or this is a story about him. He is the center. He is also our narrator and guide, and during these essentially two phases of his childhood, one during the early 1960s and the second during the latter half of the 1960s, again set in the context of New York, of Bronx, this being the title, A Bronx Tale. This is a film where we see him and his relationship, a number of very key relationships. First, the relationship that he has with his father, who is a bus driver, and this is the Lorenzo character, who is also very proud of his background. He works hard, and he wants this to be part of what he teaches to his son, the value of work ethic, the value of being proud of doing that sort of thing, even though he and his family and yes, indeed, his family do acknowledge that it is still difficult to make ends meet financially, because of the very limited financial means that this lifestyle is affording them. All the same, this is an environment and situation where father is trying to teach his son as he is growing up in the Bronx this idea of valuing work ethic and having a type of pride and having a type of feeling of worth or self-worth growing up. So this is one of those really key aspects. Of course, at the same time, imparting words of wisdom and also imparting love and guidance and a type sense of feeling safety, for lack of a better phrase, and the like. And so this is the relationship between father and son, Lorenzo and Calogero character. There's another key relationship that is at play here. That is in the context of the appearance and emergence of Sonny, who is played by Chaz Palminteri. And Sonny is a criminal figure. He is part of an organized crime situation. And so this is where the gangster element emerges. And so he is on the other side of the law. He is, of course, very flashy. He is also very proud. He is also very showy in terms of his, say, wealth or perceived wealth. And we assume it is through illegitimate means. However, there is also in that sense of, say, lifestyle, a way in which he is showing his own, say, worth, at his own self-perceived worth, his own individual spirit, and a type of pride in his life. Now, that viewpoint and maybe the means by which he tries to achieve that could be said to be at total odds with the viewpoint and philosophy espoused by the Robert De Niro character Lorenzo. Now, that is the source of the tension of the film, because it is indeed Sonny, the Chaz Palminteri character, who also forms a type of real father figure of sorts to the young boy, Calogero, or C. Therein lies also a name change, which is also very fascinating in and of itself. But here we have the young boy and his relationship with his father, the Robert De Niro character, and also his relationship with this criminal figure who is also very influential. This is Sonny, or the Chaz Palminteri character. And when their philosophies are revealed to be at odds with each other, then the question is, which route in life will the young boy follow? Will he choose to follow the route that is set forth by his father, or will he choose the type of life that seems to be suggested by the lifestyle of the Chaz Palminteri character? So this is I think, the real crux of the matter, and it's set forth in this very, very warm and very emotional, almost elegiac way. That is true to spirit. There is a lovely way in which this film takes place in the context of the changing times. As I mentioned, this is, or can be said to be, a film that's divided into two parts. The first part being the youth, the young boy, Calogero, as a young boy at the start of the 1960s, and then several years later, still in the 60s, except in the latter half, the late 1960s, and he is an older teenager. And during that period, or during each period, we see his experiences, what he sees in life. Maybe there are acts of violence that he sees. There are also acts of, say, kindness that he sees growing up, and how those form very lasting impacts on him, and maybe they are the foundations of certain life lessons that will carry with the young boy throughout the film as he grows up. And then when he is a little bit older, we see the changing currents of the times. There is a sense of, say, not issues, but there is a sense of the emergence of what might be called countercultural elements on the one hand. There are also issues and discussions within the film's plot and context with regard to civil rights, and also race relations. And we see maybe within the community that Calogero lives, we see various manifestations of attitudes and views on or regarding race relations. And sometimes it can be quite startling and surprising, especially when we as viewers witness where those certain manifestations of race relations emerge and what characters espouse what types of viewpoints, etc. And it also affects Calogero as well, directly and specifically, because he does form a relationship with a young woman, a young girl that he meets. And this is the character of Jane. And this also forms a really close relationship. I mentioned this is a film about relationships. This relationship that he has with Jane could be said to be another key relationship, because it is one where, of course, it is a type of young love situation going on, and also it is this idea of another aspect of the character of Calogero that we get to know, and is very heartwarming as well. But also we have to remember that in the context of the community that is at the center of this particular film, A Bronx Tale, there are certain characters that we have encountered that might not feel that might have very maybe negative attitudes towards race relations, and that will have an effect on how he is able to have this relationship with the character of Jane, who is African American. So this adds an interesting level and layer of race, and also in the context of the 1960s, and also in the context of this drama of a young boy who is struggling to choose the path in life. Will he choose the path of what seems to be that of a type of law-abiding route, which he admits and his family admits might still lead to financial dire straits? Or will he opt for the life that seems to be more opulent, but also at the same time very dangerous and deadly, but also very alluring and cool from a certain point of view, but it also has its negative points as well that are also fully acknowledged, and that is, of course, the represented by Chaz Palminteri character, the Sonny character. So we have so many things going on here. And this work, A Bronx Tale, as written by Chaz Palminteri and starring Chaz Palminteri, and also with the direction of Robert De Niro and also starring Robert De Niro, this is a really dynamite work. It's also really thrilling too, because we have these characters, Sonny and Lorenzo, Chaz Palminteri's character Sonny and Robert De Niro's character Lorenzo, and as I indicated, they seem to be dueling for the very soul of Calogero, the young boy. But at the same time, it's not a 100% two-dimensional good guy, bad guy, or protagonist-antagonist relationship. There is actually a very complex dynamic, refreshingly so, a complex dynamic that is occurring between Robert De Niro's Lorenzo and Chaz Palminteri's Sonny. There is maybe an unspoken respect, but also there is an acknowledgement of them being on different sides of the law, so to speak. There's also a type of earnest attempt at trying to get to know the other side's story, or maybe there isn't. Maybe the idea of maybe some characters maybe show a sense of openness rather than, say, other characters, and those surprises are also quite startling as well, etc., etc. So this is my way to say that this film, A Bronx Tale, has with it, embedded with it, so many layers. And what I love too about it, it has this earnest feel. It has this calm nature to it. And when the scenes of violence occur, they don't occur randomly. They are very earned. They exist within the context of the narrative. They also exist as Calogero, the young boy, sees it and sees the world. And they also are very important and integral and organic to the whole environment of the film. And it is handled so well and so precisely. The music is really well used. It has an absorbing nature to it. And overall, it is an utterly fascinating work indeed. From the director, Robert De Niro, from the writer, Chaz Palminteri. This is the film from 1993, and this is A Bronx Tale. Okay, my dear friends, so that's it for now. And so until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great, great movies. Thank you so much, as always, for your time. I very, very much appreciate it. Stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.